Welcome Year 11 students to our online lesson for this second learning experience on our unit of risky driving behaviours. The purpose of this session today is to take the knowledge that we have learnt through the first learning experience and then look to analyse and evaluate strategies that have been implemented in the past, critique the results as we look to progress to creating our strategies for our summative assessment. So far in the unit, we have explored the health issue. So that is, we've looked at the associated behaviours that are associated with risky driving behaviours. We've also looked at the most affected demographics, the effects of partaking in these behaviours. So that's both the direct and indirect effects. And we've also identified and explored the barriers that currently exist with risky driving behaviours and why it's difficult for governments to create realistic strategies that do benefit the community. So if we look back on our notes from previous weeks, it can be seen that we have identified barriers that exist for risky driving behaviours. Now these barriers both promote risky driving behaviours, making it more likely for people to partake in them, and it also inhibits the implementation of strategies from being successful. Therefore, a strategy is only effective if it addresses the barriers that exist for the health issue. A successful strategy targets one particular demographic. Devise a strategy that will target one demographic and then adjust for the barriers accordingly. So different demographics contain different barriers. For example, with risky driving behaviours, the barriers that are facing a middle-aged woman will be vastly different to the barriers that are facing a younger man. Therefore, that the strategies that are going to be implemented are going to be vastly different for both parties. Focusing on too many demographics mean there are far too many barriers to address. The best strategies choose one demographic and address those barriers effectively. That makes the need for the person creating the strategy to identify the barriers that are relevant for their demographic. So now we are going to play a very relevant video clip from the film Too Fast, Too Furious. Now during the clip, I need you to identify what demographic is the video clip affecting the most, and then what barriers are being created by the video clip, and then look to provide some examples throughout the clip reflecting your decisions.
Turning the barbecue around here. It's not a game, it's serious. All right, back up, get off the street, let's go. Back it up. Everybody keep your hands real clear, all right? Because I got a surprise for y'all this evening. I got this. Been at it.
So now I'd like you to compare your findings compared to what I found from the video clip. To the demographic which the video is affecting is the 15 to 25 age bracket. That is seen by the overall age of the people involved, from the racers to the bystanders. So now looking at the barriers that can be identified through the video clip. Firstly, I would say that it glorifies risky driving behaviours. These racers are seen as better than other men and women compared by their racing. They almost appear worshipped. There is little reality of consequences arising from risky driving behaviours. We can see in the video clip that someone almost crashes and he's able to save himself without any real consequences. So then again, if we're relating that back to everyday life, people can see this clip and think that they will be able to get out of a similar situation. Another aspect that I thought was interesting is that the race occurs on a public street. Now, putting yourself in the eyes of the viewer, this could mean that they could feel they could replicate the scene in their real lives. So now we are going to look at an award-winning advertisement that successfully addressed the barriers for the chosen demographic of the advertisement. Now, during this advertisement, I need you to pause the video, identify what demographic is the educational advertisement targeting. So that's the age, the gender, socioeconomic background, and culture. What barriers is the educational advertisement addressing? How does the educational advertisement go about addressing the identified barriers? So does it educate? Does it use scare tactics? And then finally, what action area or areas of the Ottawa Charter are being addressed? Because in all health subjects, we do need to address the Ottawa Charter.
Hello?
Hi, Mum.
Andrew? Not like you to call?
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello.
Alright. Look, it's really noisy and hard to hear you. Are you at a party?
Dude, put down, let's go.
Yeah,
Right. Hey, Jenny wants to know, are you going to come on Sunday? Remember it's Grandpa's birthday, we would love you to be there.
I don't think I'll be able to.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Are you out with your uni mates? Andrew, you are actually doing some study this year, aren't you? Not just partying all the time?
Yes, Mum.
Are you keeping on top of your studies? Andrew?
Yes, Mum.
I've told you before, first year is important. You really need to knuckle down, mate.
Yes, Mum. Is Dad there?
No, look, it's really hard to hear you, love. He's on his way home. Why?
Oh, no reason.
Andrew, is something wrong?
No, I just wanted to say hi.
What's wrong, love? Talk to me. Andrew?
And I love you, Mum.
And I love you too, honey. Where are you? Andrew, you're really scaring me. Andrew, what's that? I can't hear you, Andrew.
Somebody! Help!
So now that you have taken some time to answer the questions from the advertisement, we can review your findings based on what I found from the advertisement. So I found that it was targeting university students and also predominantly male. As we can see, there are very few females shown throughout the advertisement, and all the main characters in the car are male. The barriers that the educational advertisement is addressing. So I thought the main focus was that it was targeting the bulletproof mindset of teenagers. A lot of teenagers, as we have looked through in the previous weeks, don't feel that there is a consequence that arises from their actions. And of course, in the advertisement, there was a severe consequence for the actions of the students. As a sub train of thought, it also targets the disconnection university students have with their families when they move away for the first time. It really did hit home about how he was talking to his mother. And then how does the educational advertisement go about addressing the identified barriers? It certainly uses scare tactics. It may do a little bit of informing, but certainly the intent of the advertisement is to scare the viewer, in this case the university students. And then of course it is developing personal skills in relation to the Ottawa Charter, as it is developing personal skills as they are being educated about risky driving behaviours. So now we're going to go through another ad campaign that is a little bit different. But once again, we're going to look to answer the 4 main points that we answered for the previous advertisement. So we're going to look at what demographic the educational advertisement is targeting. So age, gender, the socioeconomic background and culture. What barriers the educational advertisement is addressing. And then how does the educational advertisement go about addressing the identified barriers? So once again, does it educate or does it use scare tactics? And then again, what action areas or area of the Ottawa Charter are being addressed?
Mate, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought there was time.
He's just pulled out. I don't have time to stop.
Oh, come on, mate. It was a simple mistake.
I know if I was going a bit slower.
Please. I've got my boy in the back.
I'm going too fast. I'm sorry.
So now that you have made your responses to the second advertisement, we're not going to go through this in this lesson. Instead, I'd like you to email me your responses and I'll have a little look, and then we will go through what we found about the second advertisement in class in our next lesson. So this is a gentle reminder, the assignment is due in 6 weeks. Now I understand that is a long way away, however this assignment is quite involved, so it would be a good time to read the task sheet and then start to look to identify what the target group is in the scenario of the assessment. You can find it in this website in the learning experience. So then start thinking of the barriers associated with that target group. So we have made a lot of progress with that today. Start devising potential strategies that could be implemented in an informative session, because that is what we're looking to create a strategy for the summative assessment. So thank you to all the Year 11 students that have taken time out of their week to undertake this online session. I'm sure that you have found it very informative and should help you for your upcoming assessment. I look forward to seeing you in class next week.